Hello and welcome to the online discourse exploring the challenges to refugees and stateless persons in South Asia, organized by South Asia Research Institute for Minorities, SARIM. I'm your host, Rimsha Shahid, research analyst at SARIM, and today we have a distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Anwar Shah Arkani. He is the founder and president of Rohingya Association of Canada, established in December 2007. Mr. Arkani has been a frequent speaker at conferences and seminars addressing the issue of the refugees, asylum seekers, and stateless persons. Along with other distinguished panelists, Anwar was invited to testify at Canada's Parliament and Senate on several occasions as a subject matter expert. He basically hails from Burma, who then migrated to Bangladesh in 1984 to escape persecutions as the situations continued to worsen. In 1998, Anwar resettled in Canada as a government-sponsored refugee. He was awarded as a scholarship by the United States Information Agency to study at Indiana University, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science in December 2002 and works as an IT professional in Waterloo for a living. Mr. Arkani, I'm really pleased to have you as our guest. I hope this discourse will going to be quite resourceful and informative. I will now begin with my first question. As you are also a Burma refugee who first made his way to Bangladesh, then moved to Canada, kindly share your experience with us. How much difficult was the journey for you? Are there any scars of past that still exist today?
First, I would like to thank you for having me in this wonderful program. I have been in Karachi in person a few years back, and it
Yes.
was quite impressive. The seminar that professors organized from SARIM, it was quite impressive. Um, yes, journey was incredibly difficult. It was all full of uncertainty and anxiety. Definitely, I was barely a teenager, just left the home, not being able to, hoping, becoming hopeless. Basically, I did not know how to survive. Continuously going forward, I did not have a future. I couldn't see a way forward. I was banned from going to high school. That was the system the Burmese government slowly but surely put in place to make the entire nation uneducated. Yes, then it was. I still have flashbacks and those bad memories of life in Bangladesh. It's not the host. I'm not blaming the host. It's the condition. I was not a refugee in Bangladesh. I fled into Bangladesh as an illegal immigrant. There was no refugee at that time. So basically, my life was here and there, homeless, addressless, nameless. I did not exist in the human society in a short term. I mean, in a summarized way, because I never learned somehow how to beg for food. I survived days without eating. I survived days, sometimes weeks without eating. And the difficult thing was I did not have a place to call home, to use as address, and to spend nights. I was basically by the street or sometime leaning on a wall, of a shop or a building. That's how I passed several years until 1989. It was quite probably the harshest life human can imagine. In 1989, I took a life risk actually to go to another country just to trying to to be alive basically, and found a way to go to Thailand. I ended up being in Thailand again, illegal immigrant, not as refugees, for the next 10 years in Thailand. But the life was much better, much comfortable. I was working A job was available, food was abundant. I did not have any issue, although it was also a Buddhist country, and I mean, we were persecuted in Burma because we're Muslims. And again, Thailand is a Buddhist country, but their mentality is very different from Burma. And I was able to live there actually for the next 10 years until I was migrated to Canada. And then, yes, there were days, actually, years of my life in Bangladesh was I spent one day at a time. I just need to survive today, and that's all. And I do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. That's how harsh the life was in Bangladesh.
The things you have mentioned is really, really hard to mention, Mr. Arkani. I mean, I won't be able to understand your pain. Like, I haven't experienced it. But I guess those hardships have made you what you are today. They have made you a strong person today. So just hats off to you. Moving ahead to another question. Currently, you reside in Canada. Are you still feel excluded from society or mainstream domains due to your origin, religion, or ethnic background?
I feel somehow that way. Yes, there is always hidden discrimination, regardless of what country you go to. I studied in the US. The discrimination in the US is much more manifold compared to Canada. But still, in Canadian society, the discrimination is there. Some people are so used to this discriminatory policy or the system that they don't even know that they are discriminating against somebody who has different color of the skin or accent of the language when they speak. The system is there, but compared to other countries, I've been to a few other countries in my life, just trying to be alive. In that sense, Canada is much better, really, comparatively much better. Also, given the survival techniques, somehow people learn how to navigate the system and avoid all those discrimination, harsh situation, so that we can move forward. Because I've been here for about 25 or 26 years now, I have learned how to avoid all those discriminatory things and found a way to work, to provide my family uh, having a comfortable life.
To second your thoughts, survival is really a most difficult thing of the contemporary world. It really it is. So moving towards our third question, you are the founder and president of Rohingya Association of Canada. How this association is working for refugees with specific reference to South Asian countries?
Oh, we have been extremely active. Initially, the organization was formed based on the need of the for the community here locally. In 2007, Canadian government is the first government to resettle any refugees from Bangladesh camps. Started to bring just a few families here and there, and my wife and I we quickly found out that there is a big need, big gap. And by then we are already established here, and we jump in to help these communities on the voluntary basis. Then we form this organization to help the newly resettled community who did not know anything, absolutely anything. All of them are illiterate. Their children, in Canada and the US as well, when a child goes to school, they don't check whether you had completed grade 1, grade 2, grade 7. They don't check it. They will put you into a class based on your age. So a lot of the kids came with their parents here. They ended up being in grade 10, grade 8, grade 12, and they have no idea what they're talking about in the class, what the teacher is asking or teaching, because they never had any formal education to begin with. So that was the main need. We jump in to help to leave the kids. Then from there, we started to do local advocacy work, and then nationwide in Canada, basically. We sometimes go to different countries in Europe and also in Southeast Asia, because the major issue is in Bangladesh, Thailand, Malaysia. Because I live in Thailand, I speak the language, I know the culture, I feel very comfortable navigating the system in Thailand. So we used to frequently go to Thailand and Malaysia and Bangladesh to help these refugees who are stuck with problems with their various needs. So that's how we have been doing our advocacy work. Alhamdulillah, it was quite successful in many sense because of our hard work, years of hard work. Canada is the first country that recognized the Rohingya crisis as genocide officially at the parliament. So those are some of the results that I feel very um, rewarding. Actually, if I think back, so those are some of the words. Unfortunately, we were not able to successfully do anything in India. There are Rohingya refugees in India, and they are in a very critical situation. Unfortunately, the current Indian government is anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, especially towards Rohingya. They have a double standard policy. There are other refugees in India. They treat those other refugees in one way, and they have exclusively ad hoc policy for Rohingya in place. So yes, what we have been doing was very needed and very important for Rohingya crisis.
You have started from scratch and now you stand here. Your efforts are really, really worth appreciating, Mr. Arkani. So the fourth question is, in 2019, India passed Citizenship Amendment Act, stripping the citizenship of minority communities, specifically Muslims. What is your take over it? How you see the future of Muslims in that country?
It's very strange situation, actually. Sadly, the wall is standing by and uh, showing nonchalant stand on this blatant, bigoted, um, racist action of current Indian government. It is against everything, basically against human rights, against international law, against domestic law, against the agreement that Indian government made at the UN. So there is no word for me to describe how bad, how shameless, how racist it is, how bigoted it is. Unfortunately, nowadays, in today's era, anti-Muslim or anti-Islam Islamophobia has become a trend around the globe. So if anybody stand up, any country stand up, any organization stand up and say things ridiculous uh, against Muslims, and she becomes famous overnight. So that's how with the Indian issue is. Now India is literally, I'm not saying I'm not a genocide scholar, but I do have some knowledge about genocide because I am a survivor. My community are members of my community are genocide survivor. India India's blatant genocidal action on it is India is also open, not shying away from it, not hiding it, doing it openly. But unfortunately, they're getting free ride and supported in this genocidal work. So God knows what happened to these hundreds of millions of Muslims in India in a few years to come. That is the biggest fear I have. compared to Indian Muslims, my community is very tiny, really, less than one township population in India. So this is the huge crisis going to unfold very soon, unless there is a timely intervention, which I don't think will going to happen.
In continuation with your answer, as the discrimination and persecution are at rise in India and the country is raising genocidal threats against Muslims, are we moving towards another refugee crisis in the South Asian region?
Yes, absolutely. That is the point. Yes, because this India is getting operating is with full impunity. International community is muted. They're putting whatever it is to shut their eyes and mouth. They're not uttering a word. Oh, India is still. They're claiming that India is the biggest democracy. I don't know what is democracy means anyway right now anymore. I used to understand. I used to have a sense of democracy, a different sense of democracy in the past. Now, when people say, "Oh, India is the biggest democracy in the world," it's a democratic country, and still operating in on a democratic system, then I have a big doubt what democracy really means. Why the Indian government can operate genocidal crime with full impunity? What happened to the world? What does it mean? Let's say people spend around the globe, a lot of people, philanthropists, government, organizations, and individuals spend literally billions of dollars on doing research on genocide, human right crimes against humanity, and all sort of things that people are getting killed and forcefully evicted from their home, becoming refugees, all human crisis basically. They spend billions of dollars. They have, awesome monuments built in different countries to remind the humanity that this happened in the past, we should not do it. And museums where they have skulls and pictures of massacres, videos, all these things. So what does it make sense? I don't see those billions of dollars spent every single year doing research, providing a scholarship, and building museums and monuments to remind people that atrocities committed against humanity in the past is not acceptable. But unfortunately, we don't learn a thing. We're not learning a thing. If I go to school, I have full bag full of books and probably laptops and tablets and pens and all these things. And then there are awesome professors come from all over the world, international professors. They're teaching me something. If I don't learn a thing, what's the point of for me to going to school? No, the same thing here, same analogy applies here. What is the point of having awesome statues, awesome museums, and providing millions of billions of dollars worth of a scholarship on genocidal studies, crime against humanity, uh, mass atrocities, on various names. If we don't learn anything, if we cannot prevent another atrocity, if we do not want to intervene when fellow human beings are getting killed every day, what was the point? So, very soon there would be another really unmanageable refugee crisis will be taking place very soon in India. If I see the trend, the way India is operating, and the way the international community is giving Indian government full impunity to do that.
I doubt, Mr. Arkani, that in the contemporary world, any of the countries practicing real or pure democracy, authoritarian governments are working for their ulterior motives in the name of democracy. That's all. They are not practicing real and pure democracy. So, moving towards next question. In 2017, Bangladesh has a GDP per capita of 1,500 US dollars, versus the US, whose GDP per capita was 50,000 US dollar, or 40 times as high. However, Bangladesh received around 6 lakh refugees as compared to US, who received just 60,000 refugees. Why is this so?
Yeah, unfortunately, things are being operated around the globe, regardless of what country, what society, what religion you go to. Mostly, there are still good people, good human. Mostly, things get operated in the name of politics. Things that get operated based on the self-interest. If I do this, if I go and intervene in Rohingya case, if I save Rohingyas, what is there for me? What is there for my country? So US is not really into saving humanity or intervening in the human crisis to save people's life. It's just all this buzzword they use, big word here, there, democracy, oh, regime change, whatever, at a given time they would like to use. They invent new word to fit into their agenda. That's what they use. Is they don't really care if there is a flood of refugees and millions or hundreds of thousands are going to die for sure, and there is credible report. They don't care those things. They don't. It is in many ways nothing to do with the GDP or how rich a country is, how resourceful a country is, how powerful a country is. It just it's really a funny world. Unfortunately, we're living in. We don't have another planet to run into. This is the planet we live in, and everything is based on self-interest. Everything is first before they even think about anything. The first thing they would think is any country. They would think is that what is there for me. So we are living in a very selfish world, a very selfish society. We only think about ourselves, and we don't care our neighbors. We don't care fellow human beings until it happens to myself. So that's what it is. That's what it is. US could handle a lot of things. It's a very rich country. It has resources, plenty of resources to help refugees, to actually resolve the crisis, inter-community crisis like Burma and what is happening in India or in any other countries for that matter. Will US do it? I don't know. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a very sad situation. I don't think there is a way forward um, to make, to have a better, to change their mindset, or to pay attention to these issues.
The contemporary world is basically or primarily economy driven, as you said, as your answer shows or indicates. And perhaps it is the reason that despite having international laws and conventions, refugees are still stateless and usually face adverse conditions to gain basic rights and official identification. So can we say that these laws and conventions are just a cosmetic thing and is not yielding any positive impact for refugees?
Yes, absolutely. Earlier I said, nothing is working. It's just cosmetic thing that to show off. They will talk big. They have a specific word, buzzword designed to use, where to use, when to use, how to use it. They utilize all the media to paint them, with wonderful color. The media will make them saint where their actions are devilish. Really, what they're doing is purely devil. So that's how it is. They don't. I don't think there is anything genuine in them. It is not. I know probably term wise. I don't think they operate based on their economic interest. It's just selfish self-interest. Really, a lot of the time it is not economics. It is politics. Their regional politics or demography, some some sort of influence that they would like to establish. For example, uh, America is very busy with Taiwan, so showing to the China that, hey, you cannot do this. If you do anything bad, we will intervene. Mostly this, but it doesn't. I don't think it has any economic benefit to it. If there is a war going to broke out between China and the U.S. or America, I don't think anybody will benefit out of it, except the gun makers. This lobbyists. But mostly, I think it is the ego. Hey, I am the US, you have to follow me. If I say sit down, you have to sit down. That's it. Keep your mouth shut, and that's it. You should not utter a word. Mostly it is ego. Of course, it has, underlying line. Uh, one of the many things is the economics and money.
The next question is, there's a notion that along with low economic development and intra and interstate conflicts, South Asia's history of colonialism have also contributed majorly to the large-scale refugee mobility movement and the lack of capacity to address the problem. What is your opinion over it?
Yeah, my opinion is actually this is a very um, old virus that we were not able to get rid of from our mind when these British came uh, to various countries in South America, in Southeast Asia, South Asia, Middle East, wherever they went, they used these very cunning tactics, divide and conquer strategy to subjugate the population of that land. So, for example, they use religion, they use skin color, they use this higher uh, what do you call this status, sort of various sort of a status, to divide one community into different segment or fractions. Oh, you are untouchable. You should not, you should not pass. You should not come to my house, or you should not pass my house in front of my house. Oh, you are this, you are that. You're Shia, you're Sunni, you're Birlibi, or you're various sects and religion and race. So many things they use. They use very tactfully, and they researched these people, and they created different things to hate each other. So that there is always conflict within the community that they are controlling. So it was much easier for them. One community trying to think, logically against the colonial rules. The other community said, no, 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 we'll come to help you. You help us. This community is bad. We'll go and kill them. You don't need to do anything. You just provide us guns and whatever things. Yeah, unfortunately, those seeds, the roots still remain in our head. We still hate each other, although we are not colonized. We say we're free. We got independence. We have been free for the last 70, 80 years. Still, we are doing the same, or even sometimes worse than colonial rulers. So that is the major contributing factors of today's chaos among their own society. And of course, there are different things. There are corrupt politician, corrupt religious group who create these sort of things, intercommunal conflict to benefit, based on their need. Some people would like to become famous. Some people would like to, grab the hold of the power forever. Doesn't want to give up. So they utilize various things, tools. But the root actually is from the colonial root that we inherited.
But this most sad part is the seeds were sown back then. After so many years, we are still practicing such things. Our mindset has been shaped to practice such discrimination in our daily lives. It's such a sad thing. I personally believe it. So the next question is, apart from other factors, the complex relationship between geopolitics, domestic political dynamics, and their attendant crises are also creating grave impact on the lives of refugees as they are denied to gain nationality and fundamental rights. How can this issue be resolved? Kindly share your views with reference to South Asian region.
There is only, in my point of view, of course, whatever I'm saying is what I think. It is not, research based or anything like that, mostly based on my lived experience. Um, I see that, there is major one critical um, factor that we're ignoring or we're not engaging with is the holistic approach. When we tend to see refugee crisis, when we tend to engage in any conflict, major power, UN for that matter, even bigger organization like Amnesty International, International Rescue Committee like IRC, and a smaller organization or big organization like UN or European Union, or individual countries like US, France, British, or any other country, they put forward, first thing they put, or they look at it, what is there for me. Either it is related to geopolitics or some other interests, and probably underlying also it has economic benefits. If we really want to resolve any issue, especially related to forceful migration, like the refugee crisis, and the things that are happening in many various countries, like killing and evicting them from their home, we need to take a holistic approach, very sincere, honest approach. What is the root cause? Why these things are happening? Why we are letting this bully, big guy, the strong guy, bully the weaker guy? What can we do? Shall we do it? Why we're letting these things carried out for so long, and we're not intervening? So without holistic approach, I don't think we would be able to reach any balanced solution, I would say. We need to find a balanced path. I'm not saying one side is completely bad, the other side is completely good. I'm not. At least there should be some balance. We should find a solution that is long lasting. We should find a way for these people who have been suffering decades and decades, to provide them a sense of security, peace of mind, so that they can live their lives. They can raise their children. But unfortunately, we're not doing it because we're selfish. Things are being operated based on self-interest, geopolitics, economics, whatever you name it. There could be many reasons actually. The holistic approach, the people really want to resolve any issue, it should be based on the holistic approach. I'm saying it, I do not know it will happen, but other method they have been using it, it is not resolving. If their current approach, whatever approach they are using, geopolitics or regional politics or whatever buzzword they use to describe this, it is not working. So we need to, in physics, if you work whole day and the outcome is zero, that means you didn't work, right? Whole day you're sitting. For example, 10 people come, push a stone, the stone didn't move an inch. So at the end, you did not work. So this is not working. According to physics, whatever the world community is trying to do to resolve this refugee crisis, mass atrocities, mass killing, with different names, it is not working. Since it is not working, they are not working as well because there is no result, outcome. In order to, they should use different approach to see the outcome.
Having a will, a true will matters a lot, basically, and it is the one of the major thing, or one of the major factor that would lead to avoid just to talk and do the work, and we really need that will to eradicate or to mitigate the issues of refugees and to give asylum to stateless persons. So moving ahead to our last question, what are the various kind of discriminations being faced by Rohingya refugees? Why the voice of Rohingyas are not being supported by global human rights organization or regional organization like SARC? And what kind of role SARC can play in supporting the voice of Rohingyans?
Thank you. This is a really relevant, very relevant question. I do not know about SAC, and of course, I talked to Bangladeshi authorities many times, and high-ranking officials I'm talking about. Then I talked to very high-ranking officials in Thailand, in Malaysia. They always see it as, oh, this is not my problem. This is not our problem. This is the Burmese problem. You guys have to take care of your own thing. Yes, I understand that. But you cannot, there is not, whatever, what you are saying is not entirely true. Yes, it is a Burmese problem, but we are on your soil. Now more than 1 million, actually in real figure, it is about 1.4 million Rohingyas on Bangladeshi soil now, Bangladesh. So it is a Bangladeshi problem now. You deny how long ever you want. You can say anything you want. The reality is we are on Bangladesh's shoulder. So it is a Bangladeshi problem. And again, on the other hand, there is boat crisis. People are running by boats, escaping by boats, and a lot of them die. Really, tens of thousands of they're dying in the Bay of Bengal, in the water, and there is no trace. And who people who survive, most of them end up being in Thailand. Then it is a Thailand issue. It is the burden, the spillover effect is all over the place. Everybody is becoming dirty. The spill, it didn't hit my clothes. You can't say that. We are a burden for Thailand. We are a burden for Malaysia. We are a burden for Indonesia, for Sri Lanka, for Pakistan, all these neighboring countries. Why you guys don't come forward and then say, hey, Burma, what you are doing, this is stupid thing. You are spilling out your crime to other countries, and they're becoming a burden on us. You cannot do this. You have to stop. And SARC has a responsibility. Also, ASEAN countries who are bearing these burdens have really obligation to resolve this issue. Burma is in many ways a refugee production country, factory, that's what I call it, a refugee production country. Burma has been producing refugees since 1962. Even before that, really, if I don't want to, I just do not want to go back that far. Since 1962 until now, Burmese government is producing refugees every year, or every community, including their own Burman. So why international community or neighbors are not intervening to resolve this issue? There are refugees. There are 14 different camps in Thailand, in the Thai-Burma border. So the other point I would like to bring is everywhere Rohingyas are, there is a double standard for refugees. For example, let me start from Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, they used to have Buddhist refugees as well. Not now, before. Those Buddhists we call Mog, or in now today's term in Burma they call Rakhine. The other group that suppressing us in our state. those mock refugees, they were provided shelter, like good housing in the city, not in refugee camps. They used to be able to go to colleges and universities. They were provided scholarship to another country. They used to be able to do that. But for Rohingyas, even bare minimum primary school is forbidden, not allowed. Rohingya, now generations of Rohingyas are becoming, young adult without any formal education. So will they know anything good or bad? Will they be able to decide what is good, what is bad? When you raise uh, some children, like generations of children, without any formal education, will they not become a burden on you? Will they not be a risk to you? And similarly, in India, there are many different groups from Burma, refugees I'm talking about. Since 1988, there has been a lot of refugees came from Burma living in India. Some of them are still there. We call Chin, Kachin, Karen, Shan, Mon. Those are the clans that we have. And Barman and Rakhine, all those, for all those refugees, there is one rule. They can go to school, they get stipend from the UNHCR, and they can sometime work, and they can go to college, university. For Rohingyas, bare minimum survival is a crime now. Just being alive is a crime. That's why the Indian government is now chasing them, arresting them on false cases, putting them into the jail, you know, forcefully deporting them to Burma. It's a blatant refoulement. A refugee, you cannot send refugee back to where they will be killed. So that's what Indian government is doing. And then similarly in Thailand, if any clan from Burma, we have many different clans, anyone ran out of Burma, come to Thailand, there are two options. They have two options mostly. One is they can enter to labor force. They will be given some kind of work permit, and they will be in the labor force or workforce, whatever they call it. They get paid. They work in the factory in various companies. The other option is there are many camps along the border. They are allowed to go to one of those refugee camps. But for Rohingyas, they will arrest them, put them in the jail. They say, well, okay, we cannot put them in the jail for 10 years, 20 years because it's just an illegal entry into the country. So the Thai law, if somebody enter into their country illegally, the maximum sentence, jail sentence is 1 year. So when they say confess, yes, I committed this crime, one way or another, without having a choice, then the sentence is reduced to 6 months. So they put them into the jail for 6 months. After 6 months, Thai government doesn't know what to do with them. So these people remain there for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years because they cannot release them. They don't know where to send them. The Thai government doesn't know where to send these people to. So recently, in the last 2, 3, 4 years, the U.S. government intervened. A lot of NGOs intervened to tackle these issues, and then U.S. government stepped in and brought a few hundreds to the U.S. So basically, it's a very, very unusual situation. There are many points that you raise in one question. There are many angles actually. So this is taking a little long. Yeah. So what I have noticed, this you can document really these are the double standard the host countries are using to treat Rohingyas. They have an ad hoc law. There is nothing written on their constitution that, okay, if a Rohingya come, you need to arrest them and put them in the jail for indefinite period of time. No, it didn't say that. It just, they're doing whatever they feel doing at this particular given time. And on the other hand, everybody is saying it is not my problem. They're just washing their hand, but it is their problem. It is their problem. ASEAN is doing the same thing, not intervening, but the spillover effect or the burden is on them. SAC, on the other hand, is doing exact same thing. Okay, Rohingya issue is not our issue. It's the Burmese issue. International community should solve it. Yes, you are also international community. The burden is on you. Why don't you interfere? Why don't you intervene? And also, I don't know why it is taking so long for the international community, for the UN, Amnesty International, whatever organization. I don't want to actually, I don't like their names anymore because I've been saying it for a very long time and they are not doing anything. I feel disgusted to name them as a helper or human right worker. So why you are not intervening? Burma, this is not a new issue. Since 1962 until now, they are doing it continuously, and they are getting away with it. This is a crime against humanity, crime against whatever other crimes you name it, war crime and genocidal crime. And US and Canada officially said it is a genocide. And there is a case at ICJ, International Court of Justice. So why still, what is deterring you to intervene? It is not a ad hoc issue, a sudden pop-up issue. It has been happening for many decades. Actually, according to the genocide law, if a country or state declared that an act of violence is genocide, and there is automatically some obligation on that country to intervene. So what Canada is doing to intervene? Nothing. Provided some money to the refugees. Is it good enough? I don't think so. And then again, on the other hand, US, a powerful country with powerful military and a lot of money and a lot of influence and also arrogant in that matter, is it intervening to resolve the issue? US officially declared the crime committed on Rohingya is genocide. So what is the obligation? Are you doing anything to resolve the issue? No, they are not doing anything. So sadly, again, ultimately it comes to again the same round that, well, what is there for me if I go and intervene in Rohingya case? Yeah, unfortunately, we're in that loop, and God knows when we will be able to get out of the loop.
The dilemma of today's world is that no one is ready to take the responsibility, not at micro level, not at meso level, not at macro level. Even a particular thing falls in their jurisdiction. And when we talk about so-called world hegemonies, they seem least interested in mitigating these issues and eradicating these issues and to provide or to facilitate refugees or asylum seekers or stateless persons. It's really very sad. So, in last, any message or any concluding remarks you want to present from the platform of SARIM?
Yeah, I would like to actually, this is the work that you have been doing at SARIM is really wonderful. Regardless of what happened, what is happening around the world, regardless of the inaction from the powerful countries, powerful players, people who are genuinely interested in resolving human issue, human crisis, they should continue. They should not give up. Give up will not bring anything good. Things get changed if we are persistent. So that's what I would like to request Sarim. I know Sarim is very active, and I would like to the Sarim to continue advocating on behalf of the suffering people, regardless of their Rohingyas, Kashmiris, Indian Muslims, Bengalis, and any other group that they're getting killed or getting evicted from their home just because they have different religion, different belief, they look different, they dress different. So that's the last request I have to make. I believe at some point we will see some changes, slowly but surely. We will have a better world if we can have more people like SARIM to voice out these issues.
So yeah, SARIM is working very hard to facilitate all these persons who are facing violations just because of their religion or caste or creed or race. So thank you so much, Mr. Arkani, for spending your precious time for this discussion. And again, thank you for making such an insightful talk. Hope to collaborate with you and your organization future ahead. Till then, good luck for you and your projects and efforts. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you.